Yo, morning guys, welcome back to the Ahn Rho Project. This is the psychiatric self-therapeutic multimedia project to solve the problems, challenges, obstacles in our lives, as well as a self-improvement process to reach the highest goals and ambitions we set for ourselves, as well as those who care around us. If you'd like a brief introduction, summary into the Ahn Rho Project, how we break it down into domains of life, sub-series, analogies, and so on and so forth, you can check out the previous live streams for the past 3.5 years straight up to January 2021 and beyond for more updated versions. So with that being said, let's dive into the second segment today. Second out of roughly 10 different segments across a 15-minute live stream. Won't take up too much of your time. So very briefly, before we begin into the table of contents, I want to say very quickly, we are starting to restructure, starting to change the order, the sequencing, and what is included and what is not per live stream, per media format of the Ahn Rho Project. So this table of contents, it may get shifted around as the weeks go by, as the months even, and time will change, okay, and time will tell. But for this particular stream, let's just try to run through things as we usually have. So first is introduction, second is kind of like this table of contents, what to expect. After that is the third, kind of like disclaimers, how we're going to conduct the stream, being honest, and so on and so forth. So those first three segments have to do with introductory stuff. So that's phase 1. Phase 2 and 3. Phase 2 covers segments 4, 5, 6, and 7, and 8. So for those 5 segments, focus on digital abstract things such as, for example, number 4 is the directory of all the media assets, live streams, podcasts, audio. After that is like segment 5, which is directly tied to 4, has a lot of storytelling and commentary about relationships, things I can't show you visually. After that, we go into particularly I believe social media assets or any sorts of learning materials, anything that has to do with something that I can show you, but it's a digital format. That's what would be segment 6. And then 7 and 8 are in photography of food, of equipment, of groceries, a lot of inventory tracking, so on and so forth, and scanning and recon, as well as the metrics that are associated with that, as well as my fitness, so finance, budgeting. We move to Excel, spreadsheets, and a lot of data tracking. After that, we move into phase 3, which is more active and closes off everything. So phase 3, 9, 10, 11, 9 is more active. So if I remove what you see is what you get, those screenshots, what you see is what you get for the digital segment. But after that, phase 3, we tend to see the backdrop, my hands waving. That's D3, all different locations of the room. We get physical, the most active part of the stream, move around in the stream, and we just try to cover things physically. After that, we sit down here where I am, and we just kind of close off by, first of all, answering any questions or comments you may have, try to get back to you guys. After that is the take-home message, which is, of course, to take care of your health, your finances, your so on and so forth. And that you can't take care of anybody else unless you take care of your own self first. So all that kind of stuff. That's pretty much a good synopsis of the streams up to this point. It may change, like I said. So let's move on to segment 3, the first of 3 disclaimers of the third section, which would be, we're going to be real, raw, and genuine. We're going to cover things, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and be honest, because by analogy, the Ahn Rho Project is in part a time record of my life. So, I'm not going to shy away from non-PC topics like emotional baggage, things like, disability, like mental decapitation, all sorts of not positive things. I will still have to cover them. Next thing I want to mention is also that this is clearly a high utility stream. It means that I have a lot of stuff to check off. I know that it tends to get a little bit serious. It's very purposefully driven, but that does not mean that you guys can't leave like memes and shits and giggles in the bottom left hand side. You can feel free to joke around and just lighten up the atmosphere. That's well appreciated. After that, the last and third disclaimer, just kind of like, or just thing to keep in mind, is that we are also treating life and this project by analogy is also not just a business, not a time record, but also in addition to all that, it's also like a game. So applying game theory over to life itself. Okay, with that being said, that's a very long-winded introduction. I need to shorten that down or save it off to some reference format in the future. Let's dive into the actual content. So we have about this phase 2, first phase, directory. I want to showcase now, so I can sort of maximize this entire thing here. You can see all the different assets we want to cover today, from food to some media assets here. And okay, let's get started. So we'll start off with a directory, and today we only have about 2 things here in terms of directory that I can show you visually. Here is a recording. Here are the list of recordings I've had in the past like 2-3 days. The top 2 Actually, yesterday, past 24 hours, just about 18 hours ago yesterday, I was I ran it through the entire thing at the workplace, but things were not going that well, and there was not a whole lot of talking because it was just a very bad day following from Father's Day, which is a very difficult day for me, because it's just not a very relatable experience. And then to move on to the second recording that we had yesterday, which actually is the same recording but extended, covers a very long conversation I had with my parental guardians, my paternal predecessors, basically my biological father. And there was a lot of, from a psychiatric standpoint, he has a lot of memory suppression based off of the recounts between my experience and my brothers and well, basically his wife, so my biological mother. So all that coming together, it's just a lot of I was trying to help him work through some of the challenges that he had in his past, but it seems like to me he has a lot of denial, or secondly, it just does not exist for him. He just kind of blots it out. Possibly worse is that there is a potential case where he could be intentionally lying. Now, I want to give the benefit of doubt here, treating him as a patient. So we're just going to move out on the side and say that that kind of wraps up everything as far as I'm concerned when it comes to domestic affairs. I think this is pretty much the pivotal point where I can say that most of the 3 decades worth of damage I've done my best to resolve everything, and I can sort of move on. But we'll see how things progress. Okay, on to the right-hand side. So that's kind of the audio recording section. Had to do with domestic relations as well as employment relations. On the right-hand side here, we have the live stream. So it says Lamb to Slaughter. That's the name of this live stream. So we have another media asset. And that's just kind of alluding to the fact that I'm just, I'm still trying to dredge away at these 10 months of absolute chaos. We have also an edited version up here in terms of numerics. So if I were to switch to a laptop, let's just skip ahead to segment, I believe 8, and we will cover down here all of the metrics here. You can see that there's $64 worth of 28 items, and that's spread across 3 different supermarkets. I mentioned yesterday's live stream. We'll continue off on that later on in the stream. So it's also got $3 worth of items divided across 3 items, and that's spaghetti. But there's actually a lot more to that, and I should edit it today or tomorrow. That basically there's also a lot of depth food here. So it's tracked here all on the metrics here in terms of finance and fitness and so on and so forth, which we'll get to in a second. But basically, we also had a lot of food that I'm going to showcase in a second. So let's move off from directory and segment 4, and move on from relationships and abstract things, segment 5 to segment 6. So let's cover very quickly the media assets, and we have here Stoic Reflections page. This is from Instagram. Again, one of the very, very few things I actually follow, but it's personal. That's why I can say that I follow this. This is from Stoic Reflections, not my stuff, copyright free. It's copyrighted, it's not my stuff. So just go check that out. But time is free, but it's priceless. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can't keep it, but you can spend it. Once you've lost it, you can never get it back. And once again, just highlighting this, value your time properly and make use of it properly. And so once again, just a shout out to Stoic Reflections, amazing page. Go check it out. Harvey McKay. Okay, now let's move on. So that's the only digital asset I think I have today. Okay, let's move on to the kind of food and photography section. So this is section 7. So we have a lot of domestic food items we have to show right now. So here's one. This is the ingredients to a beef patty that I ate yesterday. Here's another large close-up snapshot of the beef patty's chicken patty, green marked. We also have it here after it's been microwaved, and of course it's just after it's like half eaten like that. It looks to me really good. It's very nice. It was something that I received from my guardians though, so it has a lot of emotional baggage and insecurities, and I'm really not supposed to do that. Same thing here with this kind of food here. Once again, I have to document it because I just cannot not document something like this. That is not my own food. I have a lot of independence, I'm obsessed with independence. So this is like tomato, fish paste, eggplant. Doesn't sound that amazing. Traditional Chinese cooking on the right hand side, bitter melon with ground beef. So all that stuff is what I call depth food. So class 2 items, things that I should not have eaten by it. And here's the brand of that Jamaican beef patties. Once again, I'll show a photograph right here. and so that's the Jamaican beef patties that were purchased once again from my paternal guardians, and I'm not supposed to eat that. Alright, so we have some burst snapshots of everything here, so you can see just exactly how many photographs here. I'm just going to expand it a little bit, and you can see all the Jamaican patty photographs. You can also see the food at the very top, and here at the very bottom, the ground beef bitter melon dish, as well as the fish paste and vegetables dish. And one last thing, I realized that over here you can see that there's this video here in Chinese of that particular fish. I realize now, after having a conversation with my paternal guardians yesterday, that's where it came from. It's supposed to be something about keeping calm and love or some shit like that, which he's been the exact opposite of. Even he's a very interesting, I guess, case study, and it used to hurt a lot to try to reconcile the fact that I had to treat my own father, my own biological father, as a patient. But it's really unfortunate that is the case. So let's move to the side. Okay, and that's clearly had a big impact on my life. I want to cover just one screenshot photography here, just to make some progress before we move on to the physical items. So right here, we have this kind of like, over on the weekend, we had some, went over to Dollarama, Shoppers Drug Mart, No Frills, stuff like that. And then we have, me just taking some photographs of stuff that were at Walmart for sewing. And it looks like it's a lot of like wooden needles and stencils and stuff like that, but my particular interest was in finding a pair of stainless steel scissors, but I couldn't, and they weren't selling them there. There's a receipt for Dollarama, bought about 9 different items, and then there's some thread snippers here, which I will include as part of the drop leg that I'm gonna make for myself as well as my colleagues. So I don't have enough time to cover that any more of those. There's still at least 3 more mass screenshots, so we're gonna get up and move into, but we don't have enough time. We have only about 3 minutes left, 2.5 minutes left, so we stand up here and we're in segment 9 immediately. Okay, so again, the room region: A, B, C for the closet, D along the wall here, E, F, G for the bed. Alright, back to region D1. D3 is pretty much empty. This piece of paper is on the floor, but it's up here now because it just kind of wiped out yesterday. And then we have over here D4. D4 is the main highlight. I want to say very quickly, I still have to decide in region A7, A8. We have some trash here, by the way. So we're going to, this trash here, we're going to take it out here and when I go to work. So this back here to A7, A8. This particular wallet, like I said, I still got to take out the RFID. But the most important part is this case. I haven't really decided what I'm going to do with it. It's just supposed to be, I guess, recyclable, and I'll toss it away. I don't know. If that is the case, maybe I'll move to D4. If it's not, I'll keep it for some other purpose. I don't really know. But for now, I'm assuming it's trash. Okay, move on to the side of region D4. It's the most important part we need to cover today. Now, we won't be able to get through everything, but we need to get through some things at the very least. So the first and most important thing I want to cover is obviously the things that we're going to eat. So these espresso cookies, just kind of like it's just a food sample. I just want to test it out, compare it to something that was mochaccino brand. We have the bananas here. So this is like a yellow banana. I'm going to bring this to work, so I'm going to leave it over here. Most likely include it inside that bag with supplements. We have these yellow bananas, these green bananas, and I think I bought these and they said they were cooking, but they were just still cooking. So I'm assuming that I don't know if I can actually eat these as they are. It's just I'm just trying it out. We have also coffee crisps, stuff like that. We have these things on sale, like a bunch of these crackers, jalapeno flavored crackers. What I want to cover most immediately right now is over here. We have on the side some equipment from Dollarama. So we have these 2 dummy security cameras, each for about $3 each. So you can see it right here. And what I most importantly need to do with this is I need to take a scan of this when I get back home from work, and just scan all 4 surfaces, and maybe even when I open it, and then document that, upload it onto the laptop right there. There's more equipment, I gotta say, down here on the side. So these thread snippers, I have to scan this as well, right? So scan them, the packaging, and then I have to open it and toss it all away. By the way, and then of course there's even more stuff here, like this, the elastic straps. I gotta pull off the straps, but I scanned this already previously. Now moving on, I have to do a take-home message. I can't do it actually, I have only 5 seconds left. So I'll see you tomorrow morning. We'll continue this tomorrow. Ciao. Ahn Rho signing out.